Hello and welcome to Oddspedia qualifiers for the World Cup in UEFA in Europe. In this October break, we have selected the best games. We have at least on Thursday, Friday, Saturday around Europe. So some good games and we have the best team possible. We have Alain Valnegri, we have Ronan Murphy to travel around Europe looking for goals, looking for tips, looking for money. So stay with us. Don't forget to tell us your tips. Press the like, subscribe. Let's go on now with the show. And this trip around Europe starts on Thursday with Scotland-Greece. This is an interesting game with Scotland with 4 points, Greece with 3, and in this group we also have Denmark and Belarus, but is kind of open since Scotland was able to draw in Denmark. That was a surprise, and then beat Belarus, the weakest team in this group, and Greece goes with 3 points. They defeated Belarus but lost at home with Denmark. So if Scotland get the victory here, they are gonna be really close, at least to the playoffs for the World Cup. So this is a key game. Alain, actually these teams met recently in the Nations League and both won away. Greece won in Scotland, Scotland in Greece.
Yes, who is better right now is difficult. Maybe Greece, except the game against Denmark, arrive with something more respect to Scotland, because but Scotland was able to catch a draw in Denmark, and yes, without the ball I think Scotland is better, but in front of the goal, the offensive potential, Greece have something more talent and more creativity. Now Scotland is a very good generation, with McTominay, with Gilmour, with McGinn. Normally, this team must to play the playoff. Greece came back. I think they have a lot of young players with amazing talent. Now there must to find some balance. How Greece want to play, because when you check the offensive the offensive line, the attack line in Greece, Zolis is amazing in Bruges. Constantelias in PAOK is 22 years old, but is a fantasy, and he saw the goal. Carezas playing in Genk, 17 years old. Pavlidis don't need presentation. Striker of Benfica. You have Duvkias from Como in the bench. The potential is amazing. In this game is a good attack against a really good defense, because when we check the last 3 games of Scotland, is 3 games without the received goal, and especially in the last 2 in Belarusia, it was really important for Scotland win. They won 2-0, and in Denmark catch point. I have doubt about the capacity of Greece to catch point in Denmark. Difficult to choose 1x2. I choose the both team to score because I think it is a value bet. Odds 2.00.
Well, actually, the odds are very high for all the outcomes, so the bookies could expect even a draw. And other player, Greek player, that was outstanding this weekend was 𝐿𝗲𝗿𝗀. Sevilla's goalkeeper was superb against Barcelona, Ronan.
Yeah, a fantastic game, and it's kind of the opposite of what we're seeing from the Scotland goalkeepers at the moment, because in their squad they had brought back Craig Gordon, who's 42 and hasn't played since May. And if you look at the Scotland goalkeepers, I know Alain said that they hadn't conceded in their last 3 internationals, but in their last club games, they've only played 1 combined club game between the 3 goalkeepers in the Scotland squad this season. These Scotland are short of goalkeepers. That's why they have recalled a 42-year-old who isn't even playing this season. So they do have a strong defence, but these goalkeepers are a bit rusty at the moment. But I am thinking that this mightn't necessarily be as high scoring or as open as Alain is anticipating. So it might make for at least one of us it's going to be right, I think, because we both teams to score no in 5 of Scotland's 6 games in 2025. Between both teams to score no in 4 of Greece's 6 games. Like you mentioned, Edu, when you're introducing this match, when they played before, both teams won away. Both teams won away to 0. So if you think that's going to happen for third time in a row, Greece to win to 0 is 433. So that rules out both teams to score no, or that ties into both teams to score no. But I'm going for both teams to score no, the exact opposite of Alain, because I like the value there. I won 83.
I like to disagree, to have options. Really, really interesting game with Denmark as favorites to top this group, and Scotland and Greece should fight for the second spot and play in the playoffs. So this is a direct clash with McTominay not having the impact he had last season with Napoli, but of course still the best player, perhaps even in this game. And on Thursday, we also have an interesting game with really high odds. Czech Republic, Croatia. I'm referring to Croatia. They are the favorites, but still the odds are very high, 2.5, especially considering that they were able to beat Czech Republic 5-1 already in these qualifiers. Both teams arrived with 12 points, but Czech Republic have one game in hand, and Croatia have been brilliant. Ronan, very, very successful in this road to the World Cup, especially scoring plenty of goals, something that we are not used to see with Croatia. And for instance, 𝐿𝐵𝐺𝐻 is the second top scorer in this road to the World Cup with 6 goals.
Yeah, he scored twice in that match against Czechia, and neither of those were the penalties that the Czechs were given in that game. So yeah, 𝐿𝐵𝐺𝐻 could have even more goals in the road to the World Cup, and he is kind of on form. We haven't seen that as much for Hoffenheim this season. That's been a complaint of Hoffenheim, but when he plays for Croatia, he really does step up, and he is kind of a star for them. And maybe that's because he's playing in a team full of stars. We see 𝐬𝐭𝐴 is still as good as he ever was, and he's playing 90 minutes at the weekend against Juventus, had to keep a clean sheet. So he looks like he's still the 𝐬𝐭𝐴 of old, and he scored a penalty in that game against Czech Republic. So I think this Croatia team are still not to be underestimated. I know some of their biggest names are obviously older, and the golden generation is maybe looking a bit more rusty now, but it's still a very good team and a very deep squad. Croatia, they've only lost once in 2025. That was against France in the Nations League after they beat them at home. So yeah, they were unlucky to go out in penalties in that one. Czech Republic also, they've only lost once in 2025, but if you look at the match they lost, it was the 5-1 to Croatia. So yeah, you would have to think that Croatia deserve to be favourites in this one, despite Czech Republic's home form being excellent. They won every game in 2024 and 25, except last month against Saudi Arabia in a friendly. But Croatia, they've been quite up and down. But I suppose if you look at the away from home, but if you look at the teams they've played away, some of them have been tougher than the opponents than the Czechs have played, the likes of Portugal, the likes of France. So I really like the look of the Croatia win, like you said at the start. And I know the bookies are kind of unsure about who's going to win this one, but if you look at 5-1 the last time they played, they should be enough to at least win by 1 goal rather than 4 this time. So Croatia win over 250 looks good.
Don't tell me, Alain, that you are going for double chance for the Czechs.
Difficult. Because when Croatia play for the World Cup, Croatia is really serious. We since their start to play in FIFA, the best results for Croatia are in the World Cup. In the Euro, they don't do the very, very good Euro, but in change in the World Cup is amazing. That capacity to be competitive, and the first game was totally for Croatia, but it's not the really version of Czech Republic. That game, that version in Croatia. It's difficult to choose 1x2. Croatia have a special motivation because it is the last competition for Modric, and Modric have an impact in this team really strong. When since their start, the classification for the World Cup, we saw the best version of Croatia, and yes, the average of goal are really amazing. I think this one will be changed. Czech Republic at home is strong in the last 3 years, but they don't play against top team. Only Turkey was a top team against their played, and they lose with an over 2.5. For this reason, I choose over 2.75. I think the odds is really high. Odds 2.45.
All right, these are the best games we have on Thursday. For Friday, we go to Belfast, Northern Ireland. Slovakia is the game we've chosen. This is Group A, fighting with Germany for a spot in the World Cup. We expect Germany to top the group, but it was a big surprise against Slovakia. They were able to beat Germany, also beat Luxembourg without conceding. So now the team of Francesco Calzona has a very good option to qualify for the World Cup. Even Northern Ireland put a fight against Germany. But I'm surprised to see these odds, Alain, to see Northern Ireland as a favorite. It's still very high odds, but, Slovakia showed a great level in September. So the double chance, even for Slovakia, pays really, really, really good.
Probably it's because in the last 2 years, North Ireland, don't lose at home. Only victory and a draw against Switzerland, and then win against Denmark. In challenge, Slovakia away suffer because in the last 5 games, Slovakia lose four and won 1-0 in Luxembourg. Probably they take that opinion to make his odds. Now, yes, you was agree against in the Germany Slovakia. What we can wait about Slovakia? Slovakia is a big opportunity to try to qualify. They won against Germany. Second game they won 2 in Luxembourg. 3 goals scored, 0 received. Normally, sometimes when do you won against a big team like Germany, you have that positivity can make you extraordinary things. And maybe Slovakia is in this way, but Slovakia need or must to try to play his chance until the end, because the Germany Slovakia is the last game of this group. But in the next 3 games, Slovakia must to do 9 points. That one is the deal. No, I think Calzona do with his village. After you go to Germany, everything can be happen. But until now, Slovakia have the opportunity to do 9 points in 3 games. The game in Belfast is the hardest between the 3 games. North Ireland, in my opinion, is the weakest team in this group, weaker than Luxembourg, who improved a lot in the last year. For that reason, I choose Slovakia winning 𝐿 odds 1.93.
Draw no bet for Slovakia. Ronan, what's your take?
My take is that I would agree that Northern Ireland are the worst team in this group, because I have seen Luxembourg beat the Republic of Ireland in Dublin a few hours south of Belfast. So yeah, I've seen it. But Northern Ireland, I was impressed with the performance they put in against Germany in the last game. They kind of showed resilience, they showed battle, and that's kind of what we expect from Northern Ireland. They always kind of give as much as they can, but on paper they just aren't as good perhaps as some of the other teams. They're well coached. Michael O'Neill is a very good coach, former League of Ireland coach. He was fantastic at Shamrock Rovers. So this is a well-drilled, a well-coached team, a team that are capable of keeping scorelines down and respectable. They're not going to get smashed by any team, but I'm not sure they're going to cause too many upsets either. These two teams, when they last played Euro 2020 playoffs, Slovakia needed extra time to win in that one, but they won in that one. Slovakia, they are a team as well. They don't really have a superstar up front or that's going to change the game for them. They have only one player with more than 10 international goals. That's Duda with 15, but they do have 6 players with 6 or more international goals in the squad at the moment. And if you compare that to Northern Ireland, they only have 2, and neither of them are forwards. Isaac Price and Paddy McNair, they're the only players who have more than 6 goals in the Northern Ireland squad. So they don't have a David Healy of old that they had in the past, someone they could rely on to score goals. And their squad, if you look at the clubs that they're attached to, they aren't the most kind of fancy clubs around Europe. You won't see too many of these guys playing in European football and on a midweek when they're not in their international colours. So I think this Northern Ireland squad, it can produce some shocks from time to time or can produce some good results, but over time they're going to lose most of their games, especially against teams like Slovakia that are better or slightly better than them. So I think this could be a low scoring game. Total goals under 2.25 I like to look at 176, but I'm going even stronger than Alain. I think in Slovakia are just going to win this one. Go for Slovakia win 265.
Then also on Friday we have Iceland, Ukraine. This is in Group D with France topping this group. France playing at home against Azerbaijan. Of course, they should top this group. So this game is key to see which team is going to the playoffs. And right now, Iceland looks slightly better because they were able to beat Azerbaijan, and Ukraine drop points against the team, the ex-Soviet Republic. It was a big surprise, Ronan, because Ukraine played well, actually, against France. So now they have to go to Iceland and at least get a point.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure on Ukraine at the moment, and their performances or the results aren't kind of matching their performances sometimes. I think the result probably did match their performance against Azerbaijan, but I thought they were strong for large periods of the match against France, and maybe they could have got a goal or they could have got something from that match, maybe not necessarily win, but they could have maybe kept it a bit closer than the 2-0. I suppose it continues to be difficult for them because they don't have a home stadium, or they're kind of always playing away matches or neutral matches. So it is difficult for them, continues to be difficult for them, and it will be difficult going to Iceland because Iceland, they tend to be solid at home, although they have lost to Turkey and Kosovo at home in the past 12 months. But Ukraine are super inconsistent at the moment. It's hard to predict a clear winner in this one. They beat Belgium 3-1, and then they lost 3-0 to Belgium in the space of a few days in March. So this is a team that can have huge ups and downs, and it's kind of hard to predict. I like the look of a draw at 340 here, but I'm not saying definitely go for a draw. I just think this could be an open match, and both teams are likely to score because Iceland were even able to score against France when they played them. So I think Iceland could get on the score sheet here. We know the attacking talent that Ukraine have, so I'd like to look at both teams to score at 184.
Alain, the draw could be positive almost for both sides?
Right now, better for Ireland, in my opinion. But yes, I don't know what happened with Ukraine, because Ukraine start really bad the classification. The last months, probably when they're losing in Belgium 3-0 and in the National League playout, something bad happened in that vestiary, because losing in Canada against France, we don't saw a good version of Ukraine, and draw in Azerbaijan, yes, can be punished concretely Ukraine, because Ukraine is compete with Ireland for the second position. I don't see sincerely Azerbaijan catch the second position, and Ireland right now have the advantage. They won 5-0 against Azerbaijan. Ukraine must to get to win in Ireland, because the draw is not good for Ukraine. It's not a good result, and there must to change something. Maybe in the management of the result, we saw a lot of limit in Belgium. Ireland is not a very good moment for Ireland. We saw in the National League, we saw in the last qualification. After that hype they had in 2016, 2018, there now is difficult moment. They can't produce a lot of players. The smallest country, of one of the smallest country in this classification. Yes, in my opinion, Ukraine must to attack, must to take risk. A lot of space will be open, and Ireland is a team comfortable when they can play direct, and that one, in my opinion, means goal. And I think Ireland doing in defense is not a very, very good defense. Average of goal received in the last games at home. For that reason, I choose the security. Both teams to score odds 1.82.
Well, and if Ukraine are in trouble, what to say about Sweden? Also on the Friday, we have Switzerland. This is Group B, and Sweden have only 1 point because they lost to Kosovo and they drew with Slovenia, despite having a great squad, especially offensively. They have Elanga, they have Gyökeres, they have Isaac, who, by the way, was on the bench in the last international break when he was still about to move to Liverpool. So a lot of pressure on Jon Dahl Tomasson's team, whereas Switzerland, Alain, are the underdog for this game, despite being the favorites to top this group with 6 points and big wins against Slovenia and Kosovo. And also they have a great squad for Murat Yakin, Varga, Kanji, Elveni, and Bolo. They have a really good squad. Tough one to predict, this one?
Yes, it's difficult to predict because it's the last call for Sweden. If Sweden don't win this game, for the first position will be so hard to catch it. Sweden have a lot of problem in the relationship with Tomasson. The goalkeeper Olsen said, "I don't go back to the national team until Tomasson is in the bench." And a lot of the newspaper in Sweden asked to kick out Tomasson, a Danish manager in Sweden. Man, the gamble was really risky, but yes, right now is curious to see the team, because not only the attack line is a good team, it's a really complete team and player playing the top 5 in Europe. And yes, something in the vestiaire is wrong right now. Now, against Switzerland, Sweden never lose at home against Switzerland in the history. Is the black cat for Switzerland, because in Switzerland, for the football and the ice hockey too, because they lose some world championship in the final always against Sweden, and maybe that one can have a bad impact for Switzerland. Switzerland are a really good midfielder now, and in the midfield attack, yes, the players are playing well, and the same Vargas in Sevilla start really ran the season. Is strange to don't see Okafor in the list, because Yakin don't have good relationship with Okafor, and these don't call him, but he start well in Leeds. In spite of that, I think for Sweden is the last call. There will be a game really close. And in my opinion, Sweden will be lose this game. I choose, like for North Ireland, Slovakia, 1𝐿𝐴 odds 1.73.
Alain is a big ice hockey fan. Ronan, your take?
On ice hockey, I haven't been paying too much to the World Championships in ice hockey yet. Ireland don't really go in for the ice hockey too much. Although in Belfast in Northern Ireland they do have an ice hockey team who play in the British League. So yeah, there is some ice hockey around. But yeah, on this one, yeah, I think this could be an interesting match, because obviously Switzerland have maximum points after their 2 games, but they played both their 2 games so far at home. Sweden played both their 2 games away, so that's kind of the strangeness of the way the fixture list is drawn up, and it's harder to kind of start with your 2 away fixtures, because this match is a huge one now for Sweden because they're on the back foot. They only have 1 point after the first 2 games, and they really need to start winning if they want to have a chance of making the playoffs at least. And the only thing is their home form has been excellent. They've 5 home wins in a row, and they've scored 3 or more goals in each of those. So that would hopefully turn into an entertaining spectacle for us, especially with all the attacking talent that you listed already. And maybe Alexander Isak can put maybe some of his Liverpool frustrations behind him and get on the score sheet in this one. Switzerland have been brilliant in 2025. They've won 5-6 and drew the other. They've scored in every single game. So this should be, of maybe the matches that we're talking about on today's show, I think maybe this could be the most entertaining of them all. So I'm going to go for both teams to score yes in this one, 178. I think there will be goals because Sweden usually have plenty of goals in their matches. So total goals over 2.5, 197 as well.
All right, and for Saturday we have some of the favorites to the World Cup playing. So we have Spain, we have Italy, we have Portugal. First stop, Spain, Georgia. The conversation is around Lamine Yamal and the fight between Hansi Flick and Luis de la Fuente. Lamine Yamal is gonna be absent for this international break. Also, Rodri was injured, but Spain played perhaps the best game under De La Fuente, even after the Euros in the win in Turkey, 6-0. Remember, in Bulgaria also they won easily, 3-0, and now they are facing Georgia, a team that should fight against Turkey to get the second spot, although they lost to Turkey at home, so it's going to be very difficult for them to repeat in a big tournament. Ronan, remember, they met in the Euros, 4-1 for Spain, but Georgia was competitive at that time. But of course, now they are playing also without 𝐿𝐵𝐴.
Yeah, we know of how Georgia can play under day. We saw it at the Euros. They kind of excited many people who maybe weren't as familiar with watching them as before. So we know the kind of talent, and some of the players kind of became more well known after the Euros. And 𝐜𝐴ZZ𝐧𝐶 is kind of had a move during the summer, and that's kind of reinvigorated him a little. And so there still is the chance that Georgia could cause some upsets, get some goals, make entertaining matches, and they are kind of in the running to get the playoff spot behind Spain. But just looking at the way Spain have played so far and the way that they dispatched Turkey, they were just so clinical, so kind of ruthless against Turkey. This Spain team kind of looks unstoppable, and you wouldn't be surprised if not necessarily a cricket score, but maybe a tennis score line here could be happen, or maybe an ice hockey score is probably a bit more realistic. Spain probably aren't going to score 6 goals, and it's not going to be 6-4 or something. But yeah, maybe an ice hockey score line or a baseball score line might be more realistic in this one. Spain have been excellent in the past 2 years. Their last defeat was way back in March 2024 to Colombia in a friendly. So to Spain, you have to look at Spain winning this, and it's no wonder that the odds are so low for Spain to win this one. It's the safest of safe bets probably during the international break, but I haven't chosen it because the odds are just so low for it. Total goals over 3.25 would be decent because Spain are going to score plenty in that ice hockey scoreline. That's 2. But I think if you look at the way Spain have been playing, I think they can score plenty of goals again here. They can win big even without Yamal. I think this Spain team is just taking the right way. It's firing on all cylinders. So I like Spain minus 2.5 at 197.
𝐿𝐵𝐴ZZ𝐧𝐧 is the man to look at if we are talking about Georgia, playing now in Spain for Villarreal, playing really well, even scored at the weekend, but it's going to be very tough for Georgia, Alain.
Yes, but it's interesting. The offensive potential of Georgia is really, really interesting. Now they have some difficulty to defend, and that one was the limit against Turkey. And now it's difficult to Georgia to try to catch the second position. Spain don't need the presentation. Spain is the favorite for the World Cup. I think it's the first favorite. We don't have doubt about that. In the last year, is the team can improve in every game. You watch Spain, and in every game they have player out, and De La Fuente found always a solution. The formation here, the young player in Spain are amazing, and to choose De La Fuente probably was the best choice with the Federación, because he known 18% of the player, and when you have a player out, you go to call a player who known the manager, who known the model of play. That one is easier to working in that way. Georgia can score against every team. I think when do you catch the attack of Georgia is amazing with 𝐬𝐵𝐴, with 𝐬𝐭𝐚𝐲 and 𝗀𝗵𝗏𝗀. Both are players score a lot of goals. Maybe 𝐻𝐵𝐴 less. 𝐻𝐵𝐴 will be is in the list. Maybe don't play, but is in the list for this game. But 𝐬𝐭𝐚𝐲 arrived in really good form. He scored in since he arrived to Villarreal, and 𝗀𝗵𝗏𝗀, the player in Saint-Etienne, scored twice in the last game and arrived so confident. For that reason, in my opinion, in the last 5 games, Georgia scored 4 times against Spain. I choose Georgia score in the first half, odds 5.00.
Wow, really high odds if you are trusting these both teams to score, or at least Georgia to score a goal. At the same time, we have Italy playing in Estonia, Group I. This is a must win for Italy. This group is topped by Norway with 15 points. It's very likely that Italy go to the playoffs, but at least they saved a match ball in Israel. This was an ice hockey result indeed, 4-5 in or playing against Israel with Gattuso playing this kind of offensive football for Italy. But this Italy is changing, Alain, but also there are some names that are underperforming. It's very important for this team, 𝐬𝐭𝐚𝐲 with a really bad start. With Fiorentina, we saw him scoring in that latest game with Italy. But this should be a straight win, do you think, in Estonia for Italy?
With Italy, everything is possible in the bad way right now. It's the worst period for the Nazionale. The team are scared. You feel that, because Italy don't. I can't say that Italy don't have talent, because I don't believe that. But they have don't a clear idea about the model of play. They don't have top player, because in every role except Donnarumma, we don't have a top 3 in the world in every position. No player are in the top 3 in the world right now. Donnarumma, yes, but he's a goalkeeper, and now against Israel, against Estonia, scored 10 goals in two games. I don't remember Italy done with that average of goal score, but I don't remember Italy received 4 goals against Israel. That one, what it means, I don't understand the identity of the model of play of that Nazionale. Estonia, we saw in the first game in Italy, is a weak team with no ambition, one of the worst team in Europe, and fight against Moldova to don't finish to the bottom. Italy, if Italy don't win in Estonia, Italy don't deserve to go to the World Cup. With that pressure, with that necessity, Italy must to catch the second position is the objective, because the first position is utopic right now, because the average of goal of Norway is impossible to catch them. Is another test for Italy. Is another game for Gattuso to try to put your idea in the brain and to prepare the playoff, because Italy will be played the playoff if they can catch the second position. In spite of that, I think Estonia is able to score against that Italy, and I choose both teams to score with over 2.5 goals, odds 3.10.
For sure, the pressure will be in these playoffs, Ronan, when Italy qualify, that we expect to finish second, because the the fear of staying away from another World Cup is going to be really, really big in Italy, but here they should win comfortably, I would say.
Yeah, you would think so. I think the biggest fear when Italy make the playoffs is by every other team who are going to be in the playoff draw, and you don't want to face Italy in the playoffs because they are multiple world champions, and some of the other teams that are in the playoffs will be like the teams we mentioned earlier, the likes of Slovakia or Scotland, Slovakia. These are the teams that could be in the playoffs too. So you definitely don't want to face Italy. Italy really need to win this one because Israel still are putting pressure on them at the moment, and they put plenty of pressure on them when they played each other in that ice hockey scoreline game. It was ridiculous watching it till the end of the match, and yeah, they relied on 𝐿𝐵𝐴 to score a couple of goals for them in that game, and he has 3 goals for Italy this season, and he has 0 goals for Fiorentina this season. So yeah, it's kind of strange, kind of the dynamic between the kind of player that Italy are calling on and the level of where they are at club level. Perhaps that we don't have, like Alain said, top 3 players. We don't have world-class players anymore playing for Italy. It's just not the Italy of old, but it's still Italy, and they still should be good enough to beat the likes of Estonia. They are. I think the only good thing about maybe not having these superstars and these players that you're overly reliant on is that the goals are coming from various different places around the pitch. They have 7 different goal scorers so far in the road to the World Cup. They've had 3 or more total goals in all but one game this season, and this year. That was the 2-0 win over Moldova. They lost 3-0 to Norway, of course, but they've scored 12 goals in the 3 games since. They've kind of seemed to turn a corner with attacking, at least. Their defending left a lot to be desired in that Israel match, but I think they can score goals, and I think they might need to score goals, like Alain was saying, because I think Estonia could get on the score sheet here. So I think Italy will score goals in this one, need to score goals if they are to have any outside chance of catching Norway for top spot. So Italy over 2.5 goals themselves is 2.25.
Yeah, Donnarumma, perhaps Calafiori, perhaps Tonali, the Italian players in the Premier League probably are the top ones in this depleted national team. Probably they are going to be favorites in the playoffs, but also they were favorites with North Macedonia, and then it ended how it ended. We are going to skip, Ronan, this Portugal-Ireland in Group F, with Armenia and Hungary also in this group, because the last stop is in Serbia. Albania here is really interesting in Group K with England as favorites. So this is very important for the second spot. Albania 8 points, drew already with Serbia 7 after that harsh defeat against England that we didn't expect, 5-0 at home. They still have 1 game in hand. So this is key. Albania with a point will be very happy. It's a must win for Serbia here, Ronan.
Yeah, you think it will be, and it's a huge match, obviously, because of the political connotations of the political stuff surrounding it as well. It's obviously a heated match. We saw it in the match in June, although perhaps we didn't see it on the pitch the way we were expecting. I think a lot of people, when we were previewing that match back in June, were kind of going to smash the overs on the total cards market, but there was only 3 yellow cards in that match from 22 fouls. So maybe on the pitch it wasn't as intense as we were expecting, and that maybe caused the result a 0-0. And you wouldn't be surprised if something similar kind of happened here. That was a kind of a close affair, ended up in a draw. Serbia have been usually quite good this year, 3 wins and 4 draws in their past 8 games, but their last game of that 5-0 loss to England, they just have to put it behind them and move on and hope they can do something in this one against Albania. Albania, their only loss this year as well was to England, so they're kind of putting in strong enough performances against the teams around them. I know some of the other teams in the group aren't wonderful, but you can only play who you're facing. So if you think this one could be a draw again, which I think there could be a chance of, that's 365 I like to look of, but I'm going for Albania double chance, because I think maybe there could be something on the cards for Albania to get something from this one, because this Serbia team aren't as good as Serbia teams that we've seen in the past, and they're kind of in a down period, I think, at the moment. So Albania double chance 220 I really like here.
Well, Serbia is a classic in the World Cups, Alain. Usually they struggle to qualify for the Euros, but they make it through to the World Cup.
This potential is amazing. when do you check the player in which team they play is 80% of the team play in Champions League team in the top 5 in Europe. And yes, the big question is the credit about 𝐶𝐿. And yes, it's difficult to understand how happened, because he's an idol in Serbia, we know that, but the results are bad. In spite of that, since the Euro finish, I saw an improvement, especially without the ball, because the average of goal received improved, and the offensive player like 𝐬𝐵Lavić, Mitrovic, etc., score important goals. They save his place in the Group A in the Nation League. They win important game against a team like Serbia, like Austria. Austria was in a very good moment, and in the play out, Serbia was better. The only things I have doubt is the last game against England, because that game was one of the worst game of Serbia in the last in the 𝐶𝐿 era. Now, Serbia never won against Albania, and that one, I think, is this statistics 𝐶𝐿 want to break it, and it's so important because in the case of Serbia, don't beat Albania, the second spot is a risk, really a risk for Serbia, and they're already play in Albania. Their catch a good 0-0 is a good point, but now to validate that draw, they must won against Albania. Albania is difficult to play against Albania because is a really organized team, really comfortable to defend with the block down. We saw against England in Wembley do a very good game without the ball. After with the ball, the team, I think, need more quality, and they don't have that quality right now to make that plan match and to be with a power in the offensive way. We saw in the victory, the last victory against Letonia, against Gibraltar, they suffer when they must to attack. In spite of that, I think Serbia will be catch a point of positive results. I choose Serbia 1x double chance with 1.5 goals in the game, odds 1.70.
Okay, Serbia double chance for Alain, Albania double chance for Ronan, so perhaps a draw is a good option. The draw pays 3.7, really high odds. This is it in our tour around Europe in the UEFA qualifiers. All the big teams should qualify for the World Cup, since we have a lot of teams this time. Well, guys, this is it. We are going to have another video next Monday, so stay tuned to our channel to see the tips and to analyze the games we have on Monday and on Tuesday. In the meantime, remember that you can participate in our tipster competitions, where we are giving away some cash money, and also, of course, check out Rivals, our custom tipster competitions. Let's finish the video as always with the safe bets. Alain?
Hungary winning, odds 1.14.
Hungary playing against Armenia at home. Ronan?
You tried to do it to me to get me not to mention Ireland, but my safe bet is Portugal to beat Ireland at 125.
You are punishing yourself. It wasn't me. And the ACCA, Ronan?
My ACCA is Croatia in handicap 0 and Slovakia in handicap 0 for a total of 322.
Now we trust Slovakia, now that they are not facing Germany. Alain, your ACCA?
Czech Republic, Croatia over 2.25 goals. North Ireland, Slovakia winning X no bet, and Hungary score 1.5 goals against Armenia, total 5.16.
All right, gentlemen, thank you for analyzing with us these games. Thanks everyone for watching. See you soon. Bye-bye.